Hello, everybody. This is going to be a comprehensive breakdown of my whole business and how I can make your business more efficient with the use of AI. Now, the infrastructure I've built here at my company is very different and a lot more in depth, opposed to the other people just implementing chatbots and other agents. I have actually engineered agents that fit into more advanced and more, sophisticated things that can be automated, right? This is my company. This is Aeon Growth. The clients we typically work with are online businesses, like an online coach, SaaS companies, marketing and sales and ad agencies. We also work with corporate companies, SMEs mainly, because why not? And then also trade businesses. Trade businesses are always innovating, and their office workers tend to be very behind in terms of AI and automations and all of this stuff, right? The first thing I do when I work with a client is a comprehensive business audit. Now, this is essential as it allows me and my team to identify every operational task your company does, and then allows us to find gray areas in which can be automated, right? And if these tasks can be automated, it creates leverage. So this is kind of what the audit checklist looks like in terms of, your personal profile. What does your business do? What sort of services do you do? How much do you charge? What platforms do you use? Your ICP, so your ideal consumer profile, your ideal client. Perhaps you're a B2B client and you work with, other SaaS companies, you work with builders, you work with lawyers, or you're a coaching company, you do online consulting. It's very, very broad. Then, your story brand, your brand voice. Then we also extract everything from your Instagram and YouTube, and this gives us a very, very good angle in terms of when we turn all of this data into a JSON, our audit then feeds back to us with a full operational breakdown of every single layer that's being done and how much time is being put towards it. You have lead and sales processes, you have onboarding of new clients, you have delivery, i.e. fulfillment, and then ongoing support. You have the finances, payroll, perhaps it's financial planning or some form of accounting. Every businesses are doing accounting now. It's just a must. It's a back end thing that needs to be done. Or it's even your marketing. Perhaps you have 15 different ad variations going out every day through meta ads, right? Once we have broken down your business into literal data with the help of that audit checklist up here and the help of AI, we are then going to find the leverage, right? We are then going to find the leverage. We're going to be able to identify all the heavily repeated tasks that can genuinely be automated, right? And in this world, time is literally money. Time is money. So, for example, you log the job in the diary. Perhaps if you're a contractor, you have to do that. If you're a lawyer, if it's casework, if it's online consulting, it's all got to be logged into your calendar with very specific times and dates. Reply to a website inquiry. The list goes on. Perhaps it's a sales process and you have to chase a quote, or it's a reproposal because the first one got rejected, or there's some form of support and your client needs help, a check-in call, whatever it is. This system, our audits and our systems are going to find the points that can genuinely be automated. And the amber ones are very key to understand. These are the ones that will always have a final say or a final layer of approval from a human. And, I'm sure as a business owner, you probably have some key tasks that instantly come to mind. and that's okay. These tasks will always be in constant communication with yourself, via WhatsApp, via Telegram. The agent has a communication layer where it will do the work and then it will send it to you for approval. And this is where things get interesting. And and obviously the green stuff, it stays human. There's some stuff that will always stay human, and that's the beauty of this. Perhaps, like a customer sign off or an actual sales call, a Google Meet sales call. Like this stuff here, there's stuff that shouldn't be automated by AI, and it's pretty obvious which shouldn't be, right? So now we've identified what can actually be automated within your business. We work out the costs, right? These costs per employee doing these tasks can add up significantly. And in terms of scaling your business, all of that time and investment and that money can be redirected into domains, into higher ROI domains, like perhaps ad spend. This is what I mean. Frees up crazy amount of time for your business and allows you to focus on higher leverage tasks, right? This is perhaps your company saves 30K upon implementing these agents. That's 30K back on ad spend. That's 30K back on more consulting for your business so your business can scale and get better, right? You have to think of it as a time is money game, because that's what it is. Time is the only value we can't get back. So we have to think about how much time we can save so we can make our business as refined as possible in the short lives we have here, right? And this is what we implement. These are some of our agent cards. Like again, these have been engineered and tested and they work in people's businesses. These are some of our agent cards. We have an onboarding agent, right? Fires the moment a deal is won. Now this fits into every business category. It summarizes the call, pins the recap in Slack, creates the client folder, drafts launch assets, schedules a nurture sequence, and then the sub account for the client is created, right? All of these things, this integrates into your Stripe, your Slack, your Google Calendar, your HubSpot, your CRMs. This hooks up to every form of communication post deal closing or even pre-deal closing. Then we have the asset creation agent. This ingests onboarding data and competitor research, then auto generates ad copy variants. Now this is so key, and it's going to save you a lot of money because it's doing all the testing and it's analyzing all the data and results on your behalf. Now this part is so key. Many people take this with the ad agent, but we'll get to that. So it creates creative briefs, angle research, concept pitches, and ingests onboarding data and competitor research, then auto generates ad copy variants, image concepts, Figma ready briefs, and campaign angles for the team to pick from. Now this one's a no-brainer. It saves so much time, right? Obviously it connects into Notion, Meta Ads, Figma, and your Google Drive. Then we have the CFO agent. Now every client has a finance team or a finance backend because it's just a backbone of every business, right? Now the CFO agent, it pulls Stripe, bank feeds, payroll, and ad spend into one view, delivers a Monday morning revenue, margin, and cash digest, flags idle subscriptions, and drafts vendor renegotiation notes. This one here is going to save you so much money. It tags into the ecosystem of where all your finances are happening. And many businesses nowadays operate through Stripe, WAP. There's many other systems that an agent or an AI can now API into, and it can operate into that. It's going to give you a weekly P&L digest, a subscription audit, a cash runway forecast of your business, and vendor renegotiation prep. This stuff is very, very key. Then we have a bookkeeping agent. categorizes transactions, reconciles accounts nightly, and produces monthly statements, your accountant can sign off in 15 minutes instead of a day, right? This transaction categorization is so key because what you don't track properly, you can't change or optimize, right? This hooks into Xero, Google Docs, and then for the communication layer, Slack as well. And you see time saved per month, at least 40 hours. Setup time, this one takes us 5 to 7 days to install. Then we have the content ideation agent, which is a very, very cool agent. And it's trained on your top performing content. Pitches weekly post angles, but again, that's data backed. This is all data backed, right? And the software we use, it allows you to track your top 5 competitors, see which of their content or marketing performed very well, and allows you to replicate it with a data-driven approach because we know their outliers. It tracks the outliers and reproduce drafts or ideation drafts in ways which we can replicate and put into our business, keeping us in front of our competitors because they sure as hell aren't doing this, right? And this one here tags into Metrical. Metrical is, this software that tracks your all your marketing pages, your LinkedIn, your X, your YouTube, your Instagram, your TikTok, if you use TikTok, and it's going to give you an analytics platform for all of them, but the agent's going to be tracking all of that. On top of that, it's tracking your top 5 competitors' platforms as well. And that's where the agent is feeding back constantly and putting it all into a Notion database with ideations ready for you to replicate and beat your competitors. Next, we have the ad and funnel agent. This actually runs your ads. So this one here is a lifesaver. It runs 7 angles per variant. It pushes them to Meta and Google. That's if you run Google ads, and pulls winners back. It's constantly split testing your ad variants on your behalf, and it's testing and running the data. And this compounds very, very quickly because it becomes a process of you're instantly, from the data, your agent's instantly feeding back and spotting the ad variants that are performing to a very, very high standard, right? Tags into, so this key responsibilities are variant spinning, Meta/Google pushes, winner detection, and budget reallocation, right? Continuous checks performance hourly, as you know, that allows adequate time for people to actually look at the ads, right? Integrates with Google Analytics for Meta Ads Manager and Meta. 28 creatives a week, and the setup time from our end is 10 days. Very, very interesting. Then we have the CSM clone. Again, this is more if you're an online coach or you're an online business. This drafts check-ins on your behalf, surfaces at-risk accounts, prepares QBRs, and writes the emails you would send if you had the time to send them yourself, right? This does the check-in drafts for you, expansion signals, and more. Integrates with your HubSpot, your Slack, and your Gmail. And as soon as you onboard someone as well, the CSM clone is going to be on that, and it's going to, hold your client accountable on your behalf. It's also trained on all of your SOPs, all your YouTube videos, and all your Instagram content, so it speaks exactly like you. Then you have the support bot, and this one here is as a no-brainer for e-commerce people or people who sell products online, right? This saves so much money. So this reads order history, applies policy and issues refunds up to $200 without a human touching the ticket. Escalates only what actually needs you, right? So it does ticket triaging, policy-driven refunds, order lookup, clean escalation handoffs. Now, if you are an e-commerce, this one here is a no-brainer. This is going to save you so much time, so much money, because you probably have someone doing this for your e-commerce brand and you just don't need them to be doing that anymore. But yeah, this is my full business and the full operating model. If you would like to get in touch and get any agents installed into your business, feel free to reach out. Pleasure to meet you guys. Peace out.